Hello class, welcome to lesson 1-1, which is all about relating integers and their opposites. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to relate integers, their opposites, and their absolute values. Let's start with example 1, combining opposite quantities to make 0. So we have a word problem here. Alexis was shopping on the ground floor of the mall when she realized she had left her phone in the car. She walks down 6 floors to her car in the underground parking garage. How far will Alexis walk to get back to the ground floor? Use integers to explain. Okay, so we have a little picture here. On the left, we have the ground floor of the mall. You can see this right here is the ground floor. And this is where Alexis starts, right up here. And we want to know how far does she walk to go all the way down to her car and all the way back to ground floor. So to go down to her car, she's going to have to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 floors. So she's going to go down 6 floors. And if we were to represent that with a number, we would use -6. That negative indicates we're going down. Okay, then when she gets back, she has to go back up those same stairs. So she goes up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 floors in order to get all the way up to the ground floor. Or I should say 6 flights of stairs, right? So she goes up 6 flights of stairs, which we would represent with a +6. Okay, now notice both of these have the same number, 6. One's negative, one's positive. Those are examples of opposites. So opposites are where you have the same digit, the same numerical value, but the opposite sign. So one positive, one negative. Okay, and when you put opposites together, they equal 0. Okay, so if you were looking at this example and saying, comparing how high up Alexis is at the start and the end of this problem, there would be a change of 0, right? She started on the ground floor and she ended on the ground floor. So this example shows how opposites put together can equal 0. Okay? Now, question 1, combine opposite quantities to make 0. We have Xavier climbs 9 feet up into an apple tree. What integer represents the direction and how far he will climb to get back down to the ground? What does the integer 0 represent in this situation? Okay, so what I want you to do is pause your video. I want you to try this question, fill in both of those boxes, and then once you have an answer, let's resume and I'll tell you what I think. Good luck. Okay, for this problem, hopefully you said that the integer that will represent Xavier's climb back down to the ground would be -9 because he's moving down. Okay, so when we think of up, we think positive. When we think of down, we're going to think negative. So we're going to use the integer -9 to represent Xavier's climb down. And then the integer 0 in this instance would represent Xavier being back on the ground. So being back on the ground. Okay, because he climbed up 9 feet and then went back down the same distance, which means he would end up exactly where he started. If you have any questions about that problem, please feel free to reach out to myself or a friend. Ask for help. It's great to ask questions when you have them, rather than just hoping you will understand later. All right, example 2, combine opposite quantities. Samuel has $20 in his savings account before he makes a deposit of $160. So that means he puts money into the bank. So deposit means adding money to bank. Okay, so starts with $20, deposits $160 more. After 2 weeks, he withdraws, so that means takes that money out of the bank. These are two good vocab words for you to kind of memorize, and also just life skills. Okay, when you are working with a bank, you need to know the difference between a deposit or a withdrawal. Okay, so it takes money out of the bank. After 2 weeks, he withdraws $160. How much did Samuel's savings account balance change? Okay, so he starts at this $20, and you can see the deposit is represented by this line with the arrow going to the right. It shows that his account made it all the way up to $180, right? Started at 20, added 160. That gives us $180. Then when Samuel withdraws that $160, you can see that he ends back at the starting amount. And the starting amount was $20. So since he started and ended this problem at the same number, we would say that his account changed by $0. And you could even elaborate a little bit more and say Samuel still has $20. Okay. So that would be one way to answer this question. You could word it a little bit differently. However, that is the kind of information you would need in an answer in order to get it correct. You would need to state that this initial, or like the balance did not change overall between the start and the end, right? It stayed the same. And you would probably want to mention that that dollar amount was $20. That didn't change, right? Okay, now a very similar type of question. We have the temperature was 75 degrees at noon, and the temperature increased by 7 degrees. By evening, the temperature decreased by 7 degrees. How much did the temperature change? So go ahead and think about what the answer to this would be. Once you've entered your answer, feel free to continue the video and see how you did. Good luck. Okay, hopefully you said that the temperature change was 0 degrees overall. Since it started and ended at 75 degrees, it is still just 75 degrees. All right, now let's take a look at another example. Represent change using integers. One winter morning, the temperature was -2 degrees Celsius. By 11 a.m., the temperature had decreased by 3 degrees. At 4 p.m., the temperature reached 0 degrees Celsius. What integer represents the temperature change from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m.? Okay, so you can see here there is a number line with a lot of bubbles coming out of it. So let me help you kind of organize and categorize what process is happening here. Okay, so we have this number line, and with this problem, we are starting at -2 because the problem starts at -2 degrees Celsius. So reading this bubble, we have start at -2. The integer -3 represents the temperature decrease. So we would move 3 units to the left, okay? So decrease is always going to mean left on the number line, okay? The temperature has changed, or has a change of -3 during that time, okay? Then our second step, we have at 11 a.m., just stating the temperature was -5 degrees Celsius. That's where we were at after that decrease, okay? Next up, we are focusing on at 4 o'clock, the temperature was 0 degrees Celsius. So that means that it had to go all the way from this -5 to this 0 right here. Okay, so that's what the blue line at the top, so this line right here, is trying to show you. Okay, and then you can see that step number 4 counts how many spaces it had to move in order to get to that 0 degrees Celsius. So the temperature has a change of 5. So we would say change of 5 degrees Celsius. Okay. Or you could even say, instead of change of, you could say increase of 5 degrees Celsius. And something to know with a number line, increase is going to be pointing to the right. All right. So that is that problem. Now, some of you might be looking at this problem and saying, why on earth did you do it that way? That's way more complicated than my brain made it. And that's fair. Sometimes we solve math problems in different ways. This is one way to really help people that are visual learners. Okay, so just because it comes easily to you and you maybe didn't need this visual, it's still kind of nice to know another way to explain it to someone if you're ever trying to help a friend. So, question 3, there's a number line. If you would like to use it, you could also choose not to use the number line to solve this problem, okay? But this question is, Shaniqua has $45 in her wallet. She spends $4 on snacks and $8 on a movie ticket. What integer represents the change in the amount of money in Shaniqua's wallet? How much money does she have left? So go ahead, take some time, solve this problem, and when you're ready, go ahead and come back and see what the answer is. Good luck. Okay, welcome back. Hopefully you ended up with Shaniqua having $33 left. If you're unsure how I got that, I did draw out a little bit of a number line to help you. So you can see I started at $45 with my dot, and then I moved to the left to represent that decrease, the amount of money that she spent on snacks. And then from that point, I moved to the left again to represent the amount of money she spent on a movie ticket. And once I had done that, I saw that the number on the number line that I stopped over or above was 33. That means that Shaniqua would have $33 left in her wallet. Okay, if you have questions about that, feel free to reach out, ask help. I am more than happy to help you. And that brings us to our key concept of the day. This is what we've been talking about the entire lesson. Just any number or integer and its opposite combine to make 0. Okay, so in this case, used some variables rather than concrete numbers, but you could say 1 and -1, or you could say like 1,000,000 and -1,000,000. It's really any integer that you pick, okay? That's what they're trying to represent with that letter N, that any number could apply there. Okay, so as long as they're opposites, when you put them together, it's going to equal 0. If you have questions about anything from today's video, please don't hesitate to ask for some help. I am more than happy to help you. I hope you have a great day.